Good morning.
Morning.
Hello.
This is our group evaluation, reflection, hodgepodge. We all watched your videos last night. Good job, everyone. Last day of class. We're excited to be at this point with all y'all, and we think you had good things to say. They mirrored a lot of what we found as a group between the discussions and real-world experience and things like that. We're going to sort of talk a little bit about where we saw eye to eye with you guys and where we might have disagreed a little bit.
So who wants to start?
Oh my God.
Well, I'll start. So first of all, I appreciated the focus on the group aspect, because that was something that we all shared too. Is that in each of the other two groups' final videos, there's a big emphasis on the impact of the group and how group formation impacted the rest of the class, and it changed the whole perspective and allowed for maybe not necessarily an easier time in the class, but more collaborative time, because I mean we all know each other in a certain way now, and just think if we didn't have that group formation project, we would know each other in such a different way that it would have impacted our class as a whole. So,
I think Melanie brought that up in their group's review and talked about how not only how much fun they had, but also how it brought them together and they were able to really join forces as a team.
Another thing I noticed that both groups discussed, that we even discussed, was how we brought in real-world examples. So instead of just reading off the chapter and doing definitions, we talked about our own jobs and our own experiences. And since we had such a diverse group from age to places they grew up and where they're working now, it was just really interesting to see all those real-world examples instead of just straight definitions, because you know, life isn't definitions and just straight facts. It is real world, and that needs different examples. So I think that really helped me remember the information more than just reading off the book. It was.
I thought it was a lot easier to integrate the information too and retain it, because we had that discussion platform.
Yeah. So we definitely agree on that point as well.
I think it helped bond the age gap with the real world experience and then the younger perspectives. I know Mike, Angelo, and myself were some of the older ones, and then trying to bring some of what we know into the perspective of the more traditional age students, and sort of melding the two together worked well in this class. I think the level of discussion was really beneficial to that. I think Group Apex had a bit about that, and how the discussions in the class really helped retain the knowledge over just reading and regurgitating the textbook.
And another thing with like not having to remember definitions is I actually learned more than I would in just a regular class where I'm just memorizing. So I really agree with Sung Soo, where he said he doesn't really like tests, and like I learned more when I didn't have to take tests this semester, where I thought, oh, I could just breeze through. But then what we learned is when we talked about real world experiences and about our own personal lives, like I remembered more, and I'll take more with me into my own life now, aside from just learning what law makes you do certain things.
Speaking of that, I think it was Justin from Dinwiddie. He mentioned how challenging it was to schedule things, and that is hitting the nail on the head. I mean, it's never going to get any easier between work and school and family, whatever you've got going on. Scheduling stuff is always a challenge. It's rewarding when it all comes together. So stay persistent and keep up with it. It'll get a little easier as you go through life, but we experienced the scheduling difficulties as well. So good point on
kind of makes me wonder why more classes aren't like this format, especially in business, because it's mostly always collaborative in the real world, or you're almost always on a team. I kind of wish that that was a more widely accepted format for class, because if that were the case, then I would actually like going to business classes. You know, when I see the little BUSN tag, I'm like, great, another boring lecture that I'm going to take 4 tests in and get an A.
And even in my psychology major, you would think that we do a lot of group work because it's all about working with people. You don't. The only class I ever did was my counseling psychology class, and even then we still had structures tests. So that class would be 10 times better if all we did was focus on the groups and stick with the group and really learn how to counsel. But instead, she stuck right back to still giving us those structured exams to get the points and show that she's teaching us.
All in all, I think this class went really well for everyone. It sounds like we all picked up something from it, which is, I'm sure, Dr. Gower's biggest goal. I think moving forward, there are many things that we can reflect on as we go about school in our daily lives, whether it's internally or externally with the environment or people around us or deep within our souls. I think everyone did a great job speaking up and talking in class.
And taking feedback.
Yeah, everyone was able to give and receive feedback fairly well. So as a whole, I think all the students in this class deserve great grades. We all kicked butt, and have a great summer.